Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today we're tackling a topic that so many of you wanted us to explore, giving your life to Christ.
Big one for sure.
Yeah, definitely a big one. And, we got a ton of requests to unpack a piece called Giving My Life to Christ, a 20-minute discussion. So we're going to dive into all that.
Looking forward to it.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's such a personal decision and potentially life-altering. So I'm really interested to see how this piece tackles such a complex topic in just 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure. I mean, how do you capture the essence of such a profound transformation in such a short amount of time? Got to be a tough balancing act.
Right. I mean, you have to distill the core concepts without oversimplifying or, coming across as preachy.
Exactly. And you have to do it in a way that resonates with people from all walks of life, whether they're already familiar with the faith or just starting to explore these ideas.
So how does this piece kick things off?
Well, right from the start, it focuses on something really universal. The human need for purpose and fulfillment. That longing for something bigger than ourselves.
Okay. I can see how that would draw people in. It's something we all grapple with, right?
Absolutely. And the piece actually uses a verse from Ecclesiastes to really drive that point home. It says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart."
Eternity in the human heart. Wow, that's a powerful image. It makes you think, even outside of a religious context, we all have that sense that we're meant for more than just the day-to-day grind.
Yeah, that's what I love about how this piece starts. It taps into this universal yearning that we all feel, that search for meaning.
It's like it acknowledges that we're all on a quest for something bigger than ourselves. And then it situates that quest within the framework of faith.
Right. It suggests that this longing for eternity, for something more, is actually a reflection of our connection to the divine, that there's a part of us that yearns for that relationship.
Okay, I'm starting to see how they're weaving this narrative. So where does it go from there?
Well, after establishing that universal need for purpose, the piece dives into a concept that can be a bit more challenging: sin and separation from God.
Yeah, that's definitely a topic that can be loaded with different interpretations and sometimes even baggage.
For sure.
Uh-huh.
And the piece doesn't shy away from it. It actually quotes Romans 3:23, which says, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God."
I remember when I first encountered that verse, it felt kind of heavy, almost judgmental. But over time, I've come to understand it in a different light.
Me too. I think it's easy to get caught up in the word sin and all the negative connotations that come with it. But at its core, I think it's really about the human condition.
The human condition.
Yeah, the fact that we're all imperfect, we make mistakes, we hurt others, we don't always live up to our own ideals. That feeling of falling short, of disconnect, I think that's the essence of what the piece is getting at with the idea of separation from God.
It's like that internal struggle we all have, that gap between who we aspire to be and who we are in the moment.
Precisely. It's not necessarily about grand acts of evil, but those everyday moments where we know we could have been better, where we've let ourselves or others down.
And that's the separation they're talking about. That sense of being out of alignment with our true selves, with our values, with something bigger than ourselves.
And that's where the piece introduces the concept of salvation, of a way to bridge that gap. It turns to one of the most well-known verses in the Bible, John 3:16.
Ah, yes. "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life."
That's the one. That verse has been quoted and debated and analyzed for centuries. But at its core, it's a powerful message of hope, of love, the possibility of redemption.
It's like offering a lifeline, a way back to that sense of wholeness and connection that we were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's suggesting that even though we've fallen short, even though we've experienced that separation, there's a path back to a right relationship with God, a path back to our true selves.
And this path is through faith in Jesus Christ.
That's the central message of this piece. It's presenting faith as the key to unlocking that transformation, to bridging that gap, to finding that sense of peace and purpose that we're all searching for.
So we've got this idea of a universal longing for meaning, this concept of sin and separation, and then this offer of hope through faith in Jesus Christ. It's a pretty powerful narrative arc, even just in these first few minutes.
And it really sets the stage for the rest of the discussion. Because now the question becomes, okay, we've established this need and this solution, but what does it actually mean to give your life to Christ? What does that look like in practice?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they unpack that, because it's one thing to talk about it in these abstract terms, but how do you actually live it out in your everyday life?
That's the million-dollar question. And that's exactly what the piece dives into next. It goes beyond the initial decision and starts to explore the practical implications of this transformed life.
Okay, so we're moving from the why to the how, the what and the how. This is
Okay.
getting interesting. I'm ready to dive into the nitty-gritty details.
Let's do it. But first, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll explore what it really means to embrace this new way of life.
Okay, so we're back and ready to dive into the practical side of giving your life to Christ. You know, I used to think of it as this one-time event, like you say a prayer, boom, you're transformed. But the more I've explored this, the more I realize it's about an ongoing commitment. It's about integrating these beliefs into every aspect of your life.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly, and this piece really highlights that. It's not just about saying the right words or going through the motions. It's about a fundamental shift in your heart, your mind, your actions.
It's about embodying those beliefs in your everyday life. It's about letting those principles guide your decisions, your relationships, your interactions with the world.
So how does this piece suggest we actually do that? Like, what are the tangible steps involved in living out this transformed life?
Well, one of the key practices it emphasizes is daily devotion.
Okay, daily devotion. What does that entail exactly?
It's about setting aside time each day to connect with God, to nurture that relationship through prayer, worship, Bible study. It's about creating that space for reflection, for gratitude, for seeking guidance.
I have to admit, the idea of structured prayer always felt a bit formal to me, a bit like checking boxes. Like, am I doing it right? Am I saying the right things?
I can see how it could feel that way. But think of prayer less as a ritual and more as a conversation. It's a chance to connect with something larger than yourself, to express your hopes and fears, to simply be present in the moment.
It's about that open communication, that back and forth, like not just presenting a wish list, but really listening for guidance, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't have to be confined to a specific religious practice either. The benefits of meditation and mindfulness are being recognized more and more these days, even in secular settings.
You know, I've been reading a lot about mindfulness lately, and it strikes me that there are some interesting parallels there. It's about being present in the moment, letting go of anxieties, connecting with something deeper within yourself.
I think that's a great observation. Whether it's through prayer, meditation, spending time in nature, or engaging in creative pursuits, the act of connecting with something beyond the everyday hustle can be incredibly grounding and transformative.
It's about creating that sacred space in your life, that time for reflection and renewal. Okay, so daily devotion is a big part of this. What else does the piece highlight?
It also talks about another key aspect of living this transformed life: service to others.
Ah, yes, putting your faith into action.
Exactly. And it actually quotes a verse from Matthew that really captures the essence of this idea. It says, "The Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many."
Powerful stuff. So it's not just about personal transformation. It's about extending that love and compassion outwards, making a difference in the world around you.
It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected.
Yeah.
And that our actions have ripple effects. It's about choosing to make those ripples positive.
I love that. It's about shifting from a self-centered perspective to one that's focused on the greater good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be about grand gestures or, saving the world single-handedly. It can be about those everyday acts of kindness and compassion that make the world a little bit brighter.
Absolutely. It can be as simple as holding a door for someone, listening with empathy to a friend's struggles, or volunteering your time to a cause you believe in. These small acts, they might seem insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but they can make a huge difference in someone's life.
And in your own life too, right? I mean, there's something about helping others that just fills you up in a way that nothing else can.
It's like a feedback loop. The more you give, the more you receive. And it's not just about the feel-good factor. Studies have shown that acts of kindness and altruism actually have a positive impact on our physical and mental well-being.
So it's a win-win. You're helping others and you're helping yourself in the process.
Exactly. It's a beautiful cycle.
Okay, so we've got daily devotion and service to others. Is there anything else that the piece emphasizes when it comes to living this transformed life?
It also brings up an element that often goes hand in hand with giving your life to Christ, sharing the gospel.
Right, that idea of spreading the word, inviting others to experience the same transformation that you've experienced.
And again, it's not about forcing your beliefs on anyone. It's about sharing your own journey authentically, about planting seeds, about creating space for dialogue and understanding.
Because ultimately, it's up to each individual to decide what resonates with them, what path they choose to follow.
Exactly. It's about respecting people's autonomy and meeting them where they are. It's about building bridges, not walls.
So to recap, The piece paints this picture of living a life transformed by faith, nurturing your connection with God through daily devotion, extending that love outward through service to others, and sharing your faith in a respectful and authentic way.
It's about embracing a life of purpose, meaning, and connection. It's about recognizing that our lives are not just about ourselves, but about how we can contribute to something larger than ourselves.
And it's not just a one-time decision, it's a continuous journey of learning, growing, and evolving.
It's about embracing the journey, the challenges, and the triumphs, and finding meaning and purpose in every step along the way.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground. So far, we've explored the why and the what of giving your life to Christ, and we've delved into the practical aspects of how that commitment can manifest in everyday life.
It's been quite the deep dive, for sure.
But where do we go from here? How do we tie it all together for our listeners who've been on this journey with us?
I think it's about recognizing the enduring power of these themes, regardless of your personal beliefs. The longing for meaning, the desire for connection, the search for something greater than ourselves. These are universal human experiences that transcend time and culture.
You know what's striking me is that even if someone listening isn't drawn to the specific doctrines or practices of Christianity, there's still so much here that resonates on a human level.
Absolutely. It's about those universal longings we all share, that search for meaning and purpose.
Like even the idea of repentance, which can sound kind of intense, can be framed in a way that's relatable to anyone, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's about recognizing where we've fallen short, taking ownership of our mistakes, and committing to doing better. That's something we can all apply to our lives, regardless of our religious beliefs.
And the idea of surrender, which might sound scary to some, can actually be incredibly liberating. It's about letting go of the need to control everything, trusting in something bigger than ourselves, and finding peace in the present moment.
It's about recognizing that we're not in control of everything, but we can control how we respond to the challenges and opportunities that life throws our way.
And then there's the concept of service to others, which transcends any specific religion or belief system. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness and contributing to the well-being of our communities and the world around us.
It's about understanding that we're all in this together and that our actions have a ripple effect. It's about choosing to make those ripples positive.
So even though this piece is framed within a Christian context, it speaks some pretty fundamental human truths, right?
Absolutely, and I think that's what makes this deep dive so compelling. It's not just about religion, it's about exploring those big questions of meaning, purpose, and connection that we all grapple with at some point in our lives.
And it encourages us to embrace the journey, to keep seeking, to keep questioning, and to keep growing.
Exactly. To be open to new ideas, new perspectives, new ways of seeing the world and ourselves.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious, what are some of the key takeaways that you hope our listeners will walk away with?
I hope they'll remember that the journey of faith, of finding meaning and purpose, is deeply personal. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, no magic formula. It's about finding what resonates with you, what speaks to your heart, what helps you become the best version of yourself.
And I think it's also about recognizing that it's an ongoing process. It's not about reaching some final destination, but about continually learning, growing, and evolving.
It's about embracing the journey with all its twists and turns and trusting that it will lead us exactly where we need to be.
Well said. It's been quite a deep dive, and I want to thank you for joining us on this exploration.
It's been my pleasure. Always a great conversation.
And to everyone listening out there, thank you for being part of this journey with us. We hope this has sparked some new insights, some fresh perspectives, and maybe even a few lingering questions for you to ponder.
And if it has, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep seeking, keep diving deep.
Until next time, may you find peace, purpose, and connection on your own unique journey.
And who knows, maybe we'll see you down here again soon.